I was a captain for 18 years. We smelled your fear. I watched you board, gripping your boarding pass like a winning lottery ticket, completely unaware that your entire physical experience for the next 6 hours was mathematically engineered to keep you docile. You are wedged into row 24, seat B. The condensation from the cold butter packet is slowly dripping onto your denim jeans. You peel back the plastic with the desperation of a man seeking buried treasure in a landfill, telling yourself, maybe if I eat this gray chicken, the pilot will feel my gratitude and land more smoothly. You actually use the tiny plastic knife to saw at a frozen roll, desperately trying to spread a yellow oil product. I watch from the cockpit, knowing this pathetic tactile distraction is a grand alibi to prevent you from noticing the seat pitch has decreased by another ½ inch. In 2012, we had a galley oven fail. We didn't fix it for the food. We fixed it because the cabin noise floor rises exactly 4 decibels when 200 people aren't chewing simultaneously. We don't feed you for nutrition. We feed you to induce postprandial somnolence. A digesting passenger is a quiet, low-oxygen consuming passenger, which maintains the equilibrium of the cabin ecosystem. Let's test your programming. Why did you order the tomato juice despite never drinking it on the ground? 1. It feels like a sophisticated, savory choice for a traveler. 2. You heard it has more vitamins than the soda options. 3. The person in 24A ordered it and you succumbed to peer pressure. 3, 2, 1. 4. You are subconsciously craving salt to retain water against the desert-dry cabin air. Tag that friend who always orders the special meal just to feel like a VIP for 5 minutes. By the way, we don't drink the water either, not even for the coffee. It is the galley at 3 a.m. The faint blue glow of the water boiler reflecting off a stainless steel surface that hasn't been deep cleaned since the Bush administration. You force down that sludge, telling yourself the coffee tastes like a burnt battery, but you need the caffeine to handle the 45-minute car rental line. I am watching you ask for extra ice in a drink that is already 70% sugar. Ice is a brilliant way for us to reduce the liquid volume of expensive mixers while making you feel like you are getting a premium chill. In my 18 years and 9,000 flight legs, I've monitored every cabin consumption variable. I once watched a technician flush the potable water tank. Let's just say I have carried my own bottled water since the '09 fiscal year. Why do you keep drinking the airline coffee despite the bitter aftertaste? 1. You believe the heat kills any potential bacteria. 2. It's a ritual signaling the start of your vacation. 3. You're justifying the $400 ticket price with free perks. 3, 2, 1. 4. You are testing your immune system's ability to fight 1970s tank sediment. The bitterness is actually the high pH levels required to keep the pipes from corroding. Forward this to the person who insists on getting a refill before the seatbelt sign even turns off. Let's talk about why the Fasten Seatbelt sign stays on long after the bumps stop. Picture the boarding bridge. The smell of burnt jet fuel mixing with the expensive perfume of the lady in Zone 1. You hover by the gate like a moth to a flame while they are still calling for active military and small children. Your brain whispers, if I stand closer to the gate, maybe the plane will leave faster and I won't lose my overhead bin space. We love gate lice. Your hovering provides essential data on passenger anxiety levels, allowing us to calibrate the boarding music volume. In my 18 years watching 10,000 gate turnarounds, I can tell you boarding groups are a psychological experiment. We call Group 5 the ballast. You aren't late, you are just strategically placed human cargo to balance the center of gravity. Why did you pay $35 for priority boarding? 1. To ensure your carry-on doesn't get gate checked. 2. Because standing in the terminal is physically painful. 3. You paid a dignity tax to avoid being looked at by the gate agent. 3, 2, 1. 4. You paid to sit in a pressurized metal tube for an extra 20 minutes for no reason. Tag the gate louse in your life who stands up the second the plane enters the taxiway. Wait until you find out why the life vest under your seat is probably just a heavy piece of plastic. Cruising at 38,000 feet, you feel that dry, nasal sting that feels exactly like you've breathed in a box of chalk. You carefully adjust the little plastic nozzle above you, aiming a tiny stream of fresh air directly at your forehead. I'll just keep the air vent focused here so I don't catch whatever the guy in 12C is coughing out. The air vent is a placebo. It gives you a manufactured sense of control over an environment where your survival is entirely outsourced. In my 22 years and over 9,000 flights, I've watched you stare at the overhead panel, believing we carry massive reserves. The oxygen in those masks, it's a chemical reaction, not a tank. It lasts exactly long enough for me to dive the plane to 10,000 feet, which is, coincidentally, where we save the most fuel during an emergency. Why do you open the air vent to the maximum setting? 1. To blow the germs away from your personal space. 2. To stay awake during a boring movie. 3. Because the cabin feels like a sauna. 3, 2, 1, 4. You're trying to create a personal ozone bubble against the recycled breath of 200 people, but the inside truth is, you're just accelerating the dehydration of your own eyeballs. Send this to the person who travels with a full-face sleep mask and a personal air purifier. Ever wonder why luxury, lie-flat seats are always right next to the noisy galley? I watch you staring at the business class curtain. I hear that heavy velvet snap separating the haves from the have-nots. You sit there thinking, if I stare hard enough through the gap in the curtain, maybe some of that champagne will manifest in my plastic cup. You actually felt a surge of superiority because you got a free upgrade to Economy Plus with 2 extra inches of room. The upgrade is a masterclass in marginal gains. We give you 2 inches of space and quietly take away 4 inches of legroom from the row behind you. In my thousands of hours up front, we called that fabric the Aspiration Barrier. It's not there for privacy. It's there to make the people in the back work harder so they can one day afford the $5,000 upgrade. Why did you take a photo of your premium meal? 1. To prove to your followers that you've made it. 2. Because the plating actually looked decent for once. 3. To remember the last time you saw a real porcelain plate. 3, 2, 1, 4. The inside truth is, you are documenting your participation in the separation illusion for free marketing. Tag the friend who accidentally posts their boarding pass showing the Group 1 status. The firm landing isn't because I'm a bad pilot. It's because the airline wants the runway vacated 30 seconds faster. The runway at Dulles, the sharp smell of hot brakes bleeding through the floorboards, and the frantic, echoing unbuckle clicks of 180 impatient humans. You stare intensely at the illuminated seatbelt sign. If I stand up right now, I can be the first one to reach the door and save exactly 3 minutes of my life. I am watching the flight deck monitor as you stand in the aisle at a 45-degree angle under the overhead bin like a pathetic human Tetris piece. Your aisle hunch is a vital component of ground operations. It signals to our gate crew that the cargo is primed for extraction. Then I come on the PA system to announce a minor maintenance issue at the gate. In my 18 years and over 8,400 completed flight logs, that phrase is a carefully deployed fiction. It usually means we are simply waiting for a cheaper fuel truck, or we are holding out for a gate slot that doesn't trigger a $10,000 early arrival penalty. We use your sweaty anticipation as a corporate liability shield. Which brings us to the final question. Why did you clap after the plane landed? 1. You were genuinely impressed by the pilot's skill. 2. It felt like the appropriate way to release the tension of the descent. 3. Everyone else started doing it and you didn't want to be rude. 3, 2, 1, 4. The inside truth. You are congratulating yourself for surviving a controlled collision with the Earth, thanking the plane for not disintegrating, which is a remarkably low bar for success. Tag the person who is already calling their Uber while the plane is still doing 80 knots on the runway. You were never actually rushing, you were just waiting faster. Next time you fly, look at the cockpit door. If the pilots aren't eating, you shouldn't be either. Your discomfort is the engine of our efficiency. Once you realize that the soggy meal and the cramped seat are part of a weight and balance algorithm, you stop being a victim and start being the most informed variable in the sky. Pack a sandwich, trust the pilot, never trust the water.